You're listening to ABA One-on-One Podcast.
Have you heard of Modere? They have some of the safest products on the planet, free from over 3,000 harmful ingredients. They send me product specials and birthday surprises, and every time I order, I could win a Modere Escape from the rewards program. The easy-to-use app means I can order anywhere, anytime. Give it a try. Download the app. Use my promo code 3I6W8K and get $10 shopping credit on your first order. Share with friends and they get $10 as well. Modere. Stylish, safer, smarter.
Modere is a proud sponsor of ABA One-on-One. We have lots of athletes using their liquid biocells like former NFL player Willie Harper. Have a look for yourself. You can either go to www.modere.com or www.modere.com.au. Use our show promo code 3I6W8K. Get $10 off on your first order. It costs you nothing to look. Hey guys, it's time for a new episode of ABA One-on-One.
Open up, yeah. Open up now. Open up. Open up, yeah. Open up. Open up now. I give a damn dog, give him a bone. Give a damn dog a bone. I give a damn dog, give him a bone. Give a damn dog a bone. Give him a bone. Damn dog, give him a bone. Give a damn dog a bone. Give him a bone. Give a damn dog.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of ABA One-on-One. We got the crew back together again, and we, trying to get the word out there about this game we all love so much. We got Brian on the line, and we got Rick over there in Florida kicking it. That beautiful weather. I think it's still beautiful. I'm not sure yet, but guys, welcome to the show.
Is.
Welcome to the show, guys.
Yes, good to be here. How you doing, Rick?
Oh, Brian, what's up, my brother?
Kicking it, man. Kicking it.
Glad to be here.
It's a sunnier day today.
Yeah, we finally got where we can start meeting up with people. Brian was letting me know he finally got out and got a chance to play some cards with the boys. I'm looking forward to beating some of my boys in spades. We haven't been together in a while.
You know these card games, you don't take anybody's money during this pandemic.
Well, you try not to.
I know Brian's trying to make some money, so I
Man,
Well,
hey,
you know.
when I show up though, we're doing it smart. Like we're doing it digital. I got my little tap and go thing on my square up thing on my card on my phone. So all you have to do is tap with your debit card, put your money into the pot, and then we're good.
Man, you guys are high tech over down under. You're high tech.
You got to do what you got to do to make that money, man.
Yeah, you do.
I understand.
Hey, okay, man. As we always say, Rick, it's your turn to burn, big bro. What you want to lay on us this week?
Well, I'm going to talk a little bit. First of all, I just want to go back a couple of things. I looked at my notes and a couple of things that I kind of overlooked earlier, but I just wanted to then I'm going to get into my important reminders that I want everybody to go see. It's 14 of them. But one thing I saw in my notes that I didn't spend much time on last week or the week before was time. Value time. Now, this goes obviously basketball and sports, but for life. But, being on time, I think I've heard many coaches say this, and, when you're not on time and you're late or constantly, situations going to happen like your car get hit, outside, hit and run driver, there's going to be extenuating circumstances, but, it's all about patterns. If this happens over and over and over, then, maybe you need to take a look at yourself. Maybe it's not, not some external event that's caused you to be late all the time. Well, I know when I was coaching junior college, and even when I was doing travel and all that stuff for the Division I teams, for example, I would say if we were going to leave school at 7 o'clock. I want them there at 6:54. Or I'd always put an obscure number because I've read somewhere that stands out in people's minds. You say, we'll leave at 8, and somebody shows up at 10 after 8 or 15 after 8. But if you say, if you're going to be there at 7:46, wait a minute, 7:46, wait a minute, 7:30 now. I need, just the little small things about time. Because, I think when you constantly late, you constantly doing it, I think that's disrespecting the program, who you're working for, the whole situation. I think that's a sign of disrespect. You just got to make yourself be on time. I think that's an art. And
Agreed.
Because you got other people sitting around wasting their time, waiting on you.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a good sign.
Yeah, we one of the things I always do is when we run practices, anybody that shows up, I don't care if you 45 seconds late, we already started, you got to run laps. You got to run laps, that we definitely always try to make sure, our people show up on time. So I definitely get that.
Well, if you're not 15 minutes early, you're late.
Like I like what you say there, Rick. It's a sign of disrespect, I think.
Exactly.
And you always have players, not all players, but you have players that the ones that I find, because I've dealt with a few players who are always late. The one common denominator that I found with those players is those are the players that always have an excuse. And I don't know if you've encountered this or not, but over the years, I've always had, I guess I've been blessed to have players that were hungry and want to listen and want to learn and get the best out of themselves and, get the best out of what they're trying to do. But then I always have that one player who's pushing the limit. They show up, if you're supposed to go at 8, here they come at 7:59 trying to make the bus. Or if practice starts at, 6:30, well, here they come at 6:25. They want to come in, they want to, tie the shoes up at that time, or, I always try and I get facetious sometimes at my training sessions, and I get players now. I always do this thing called winners and losers. And every training session, especially when I'm addressing people for being late, I address the whole group. And I always say, things like, and I got a lot of sayings when I do it, but I would say, a winner, if practice started at 6:30, a winner comes in, he's dressed, he's ready to go at 6 o'clock, and he's on the court and he's warming up. A loser is going to come in at 6:25 and want to have a conversation with everybody while he's tying his shoes up. And when the whistle blows, he's just not ready yet. And then I'll say, like, a winner will do this or a loser would do that. And I would constantly, do that with players throughout my training sessions so that they try and understand that commitment of time. Time is valuable. You waste the coach's time, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your players' time when you're constantly being a distraction for being late and don't value the time that you got.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It reminded me of a funny story, and I hadn't even thought about this until you said that about being late all the time. I'm not going to tell. Well, I guess I can tell a quick story now.
Go ahead, Rick. Go ahead, man.
This will be quick. This guy goes out and he takes his team to the national tournament for the first time, and they're all excited. The town's behind them. And his best player is an older guy. His best player, I think, had been in the military. This is a true story. He's been in the military, and he kind of danced to his own drum. He'd been out of school for a couple of years. It was in AI. So the night before their first game, down the hallway or down the street, there was a pool hall. And the coach walked in, and he's in there shooting pool and drinking beer on the night before their big game. Oh, he was furious. You know, you're talking about sacrificing the whole team because of your misbehavior. And this guy's averaging about 25 points a game. He's the best player in the country. And he just killing everybody. But he's obviously violated the rules, and he's been out drinking beer and shooting pool. So the next night, the next afternoon or the evening before the game, the coach gets them in the dressing room. He's giving them a pregame talk, and he's still furious about this one guy. We'll call him Brian, just to give him a name. He says, you know, we got a guy on this team who thinks he's above the team. He thinks he's better than everybody else, which he was. And you know, I'm just not going to have it tonight, Brian. Here's your punishment. You can't be co-captain, but you can play. You just can't be co-captain. You know, I thought that was funny. Guys averaging about 25, 26 points a game. So I'm going to fix you. Tonight you can't be co-captain, but you can go and play 40 minutes. You can't be co-captain. Anyway, sorry, I got off the topic a little bit.
Oh, my God.
I want to talk just a little bit about these reminders that we were talking about. And we spoke a little bit about this, Brian and I did off the air last night. Communicating, which is so important, communicating with your teammates by talking. You want to talk and communicate with your team. Because, you know, I always say, especially on defense, calling out screens, telling your teammate, yo, screen coming. We talked a little bit about that also, that, you know, that point guard, like CJ, coming up the floor, he's all up in the guy's face. He's defending him. He's moving his feet. He's sliding. And all of a sudden, here comes a blind screen and just knocks his marbles out.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That guy, that 6'8", 230-pound guy that set that screen, whoever was guarding that guy should have maybe communicated to CJ that screen was coming. But that communication is crucial. We're using defense as an example, but I'm talking about in all things. So defense, cutter, man coming through, we got this, we got that. Especially that Brian and I also talked about the matchup zone. You know, we had a drill where we'd get around under the basket and they just had to talk for 20 seconds. You know, I don't care what you say, but I want it loud. You know, profanity, of course, but just talking. Everybody had to talk at the same time. It had to be mass chaos, mass confusion. The reason for that is in a game, that's what you want on defense. You know, you're trying to run an offense. You're trying to think about what your assignments are. You got to think where you need to go at this time. And you got 5 guys talking in your ear loud. And, you know, it's a great hindrance. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
See, and that's what we had mentioned as well. This drill that I do with the players, you know, we get into a 5-on-5 situation, and I always emphasize it on the defensive end of communication. And I'll put 48 seconds on the clock where players have to, and that's 2 possessions. And all that is just 2 possessions. And that's how I explain it to them. You got 2 possessions to play defense. And if you think about it in a game sense, you've played defense for possession, they take a last-second shot, and they get an offensive rebound. Guess what? You got to play defense for another 24 seconds. So I do this drill where I get my assistant coach standing on the sideline, and I have the 5 players on D. Offense spreads the floor, and they're passing the ball around, just passing the ball. And the defense has to move on flight of the ball and communicate the entire time. If they're on ball, they're calling ball. If they're 1 pass away, it's either help left, help right. If it's 2 passes away, I got split, I got high split, I got basket split. They constantly communicate that whole time. And it has to be verbally loud and understandable. It can't be a lot of gibberish. And that's where you get the players, because I said to these players, you want to have precise communication, and you always want to have 2-way communication with each other. But when the drill is finished, okay, next group, you're on defense. When that drill is finished, coach, who was more precise, who was clear, who did you understand, and who was loud with their communication. Coach writes down which group did well. The other groups, they're running. And I got these things that they run. See, I always innovate my punishments, and I'll make this real quick. When they got to run, we run these things called burpicides, okay? Now, burpicides is something I created. It's a suicide, okay? But you got 10 burpees every time you hit the baseline. So these players don't want to run these burpicides. So you can bet they communicate, they talk, they move, and they make sure that they're getting it done because they don't want to run burpicides. But I find that as a great equalizer in helping them to communicate in the game.
We're going to have to steal that. I'm going to have to steal that.
That's good. That's good. There's all forms of punishment or whatever for not getting your the competition, the loser. Coach out in Oregon used to have his name was Ralph Miller. He used to have a number, and he would at the beginning of practice, our guys today the number is 24. Today it's arbitrary, whatever number you want to use, but every drill has to have 24 perfect completions. If you run a 2-line layup, you got to have 20. Everything's 24. And if you didn't make 24, then you started over. And you started, so practice could go from 2 hours to very easily go to 3.5 hours.
Yep.
It's all about what you believe in. And so I think that's, obviously very important. Another thing I talked about a little bit was always play in an athletic position. I talked a little bit about balance, which I think is probably the single greatest thing that a basketball player or an athlete, I'm not going to say basketball player, but in this case, basketball player, tennis, golf, football, whatever you think, balance is probably the single most important asset that a player can possess, because you got to be on balance when you shoot, you got to be on balance when you're on defense, and that's staying in an athletic position. You're not standing there with your legs locked, you're not standing there like a statue, you're in a position, your knees are bent, you're pointing out where the ball is, you're in an athletic position, ready to react on the ball. Because if you react too slow, you're going to get beat all night if you react too slow. That's why you got to be thinking one pass ahead or one step ahead in order to be you get your stuff done defensively and offensively. You got to think. That's the first thing I have on my list of pointers that I point out to the kids in my academy, my basketball academy. Always play in an athletic position. Mm-hmm. And that's offside help. If you're on defense, if you're on the weak side, you're not sitting over there, having cocktails or whatever. You're ready to go. Because as soon as you can relax over there, the ball's going to be swung, and all of a sudden you can catch yourself in a chase position. You'll be catching yourself in a weak position. So, stay in an athletic position. But, all that's, I think, is extremely, extremely important. And the other one, that's the last one I'm going to touch on this. We'll save some of these for later. But good passers make good shooters.
Yep.
If you watch a good shooter, you watch a Reggie Miller, or you watch a Del Carey, or name some names. You go guys that have very great shooters. They're always ready to shoot. But again, if I'm the passer, it's just as important as a shooter. If I'm throwing it past at their feet, if I'm throwing it over their head where they got to reach up to get it, it's too late. Because in this day and age, if you can't get that shot off quick release, you're not going to get it off. The athletes are too good on defense. So that's why you shot preparation, you are ready to go. So when that ball is swung and it hits your hands, you're already into your shot. But again, it's the good shooters, but it's also the good passers. Bad passes make bad shooters.
Well, see, that's one of those fundamentally sound skills that I think sometimes goes overlooked. I mean, we concentrate a lot on, fundamental stuff, but like I always say to the players that I coach, 95% or 90 to 95% of your turnovers come from passes. It's not people taking the ball from you while you're handling. It's the passes that you're making. And, a lot of times I think that's where players don't get that additional fundamental understanding, like you're saying. A good shooter, a good passer creates a good shooter because it's where you're passing. It's, first of all, it's how you're passing, but it's where you're passing and where your passes need to get to. I have a rule, especially with younger players, and I do it with older players too. No bounce passes on the perimeter. Players are too quick and react too well, especially at that senior level, for you to be throwing bounce passes on the perimeter. That's just going to be picked off 9 times out of 10, and you're chasing back on a fast break. But passes should be sharp, should be quick, and passes should be on target. You with younger players, on post passes, if the post player has high hands as a target, don't throw it down to the knees. Don't give him a bounce pass to his waist if he has high hands on the target. But that's a fundamental understanding of passing that I think players today don't get. For all their athletic ability and for all the adjustments that they can make when they have the ball, it's when they don't have the ball, especially in a passing situation, is where the mistakes occur, because that's where the ball isn't controlled. The only control over that flight of the ball is the last person that had possession. So I love your point about, good passers to make good shooters. But I think that's one of the areas where we can still improve just by teaching that fundamental understanding of passing as opposed to just passing.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing, I think one thing we're overlooking or we're not talking about here, Brian, and I've thought about this a lot. I do a lot of basketball camps, different countries, and one of the drills I use to teach passing, we have two lines, two kids facing each other, and then I show them about how you pass the ball. You get the rotation on the ball. The thumbs are behind the ball. When you follow through, the thumbs are on top. All the little technical stuff. But you know what? They get out there in the game. The thing that's most important is decision making.
Yes.
Decision making ability when they're playing at a high speed now. I'm not just talking about they're doing drills. I'm talking about in a game. Decision making, by far, not even close, is the most important thing. But if you can't make decisions, you can throw the most technically sound pass. You go, wow, what a great passer he is. The only problem is it never gets to who he was passing it to. Throws it behind him, or he doesn't make a good decision on when to throw it. When a post guy's open, and I'm a post guy, so I know this. When he's open, he's only open for maybe 1 to 2 seconds.
2 second rule.
And if you're a guard, like you and CJ, if y'all out there dribbling and looking up in the stands at your girlfriend and showing off, and I've got this guy there in posting, and I got him on my back ready, I'm calling for the ball. I want the ball. Now, if you wait another second, all of a sudden that guy's fallen over the top. Now I'm not open.
Yep.
So again, that's decision making. That's why good point guards is a single most important attribute that a team can have. Because you may not win with a good point guard, but you sure are not going to win without a point guard. I really, really believe that. You look at all the great teams. You look at all the great teams. You can have the 7-footers. You can have the post guys. You can have all the. Of course, rebounding is important, but I'm just saying, in terms of a good point guard, understanding the game, understanding time and score, understanding when to back it out. All those things. And that's why you don't one of those deals where you don't realize what you have until you don't have it.
Yeah.
I had a point guard one time, boy, he was dominant. The next year he graduated. Next year I brought in a freshman and good, very talented, but didn't have a clue. And then all of a sudden I'm pulling my hair out. I think, holy Toledo, come on, man. Come on, man.
Yeah.
That's the ball when the guy's open. But again, that comes from experience, and it comes from actual game playing.
Yeah.
And we cannot argue with you there, man. Hey, we're going to be starting to wrap this up pretty soon, but Rick, you told us you got a couple of quotes that you wanted to pass on.
I do. And I think
so we're gonna let you out of your weekly stories because of these quotes. So you know, we're gonna be listening tentatively. You know, so
well,
go ahead, my man.
I told you, as I told you earlier, these I can't take credit for these, but as time goes on, I might start taking credit for them. The coach said, you know, you finish last in your conference, they call you an idiot. You finish last in medical school, and they call you a doctor. I thought that was pretty to the point. And
it's true, though.
The trouble that's right. The trouble is you never get a day off.
It's so true.
And
it's true.
Guy said doctors, they can bury their mistakes, but most of his are still on scholarship. You gotta think about that one a minute.
And he can't get rid of them.
The guy used to say the one thing worse than a bad player is a bad player who don't know he's a bad player. He knows he's a bad player, then he compensates and plays within his limits. But if he's a bad player and he thinks he's a good player, he's fired.
Oh God.
Oh man.
And the last one I got this one. I used this one night, kind of by mistake, but I was trying to get my point across to the referee. I said one of the problems with the referee is y'all act like you don't care who wins. And of course, the referee doing a break of free throw or something, he's standing over in front of our bench. He said, "What do you mean by, the problem with the referees? They don't care." And I looked at him looked at him and said, "Well, you got to think. You better think about that one." And then he said, "I'll give you a technical." I said, "Why? You can't give me a technical for what I'm thinking, and I think you suck."
Hey, that depends on where you're playing too, because I don't know, man. Like in the NFL, I've seen a couple of games, especially with New England, where you kind of wonder, who's paying those refs, man? Because it seems to go their way a lot. But anyway, guys, I want to.
We're getting specific now with New England now.
I know. I just pointed them out because everybody pokes them with a stick. You know how it is.
Yeah, well, they should be poked with a stick.
This year they might get poked with a stick.
Yeah, that was an easy target. So I was trying to be safe. Safe.
You're hard, Brian. You're hard, man.
Well, I tell you, I'm because I'm a Raider fan when we come to that, and I still won't forget the snow, the tuck rule in the snow. I still won't forget that.
Well, I'm a Cowboy fan, so I don't have to go through all that.
Hey, I have my dad's cousin Hollywood Henderson played with Dallas, and he also played with the 49ers, and I'm a big 49er fan. Been a 49er fan for 49 years this year, so big.
Okay.
I love my Niners.
Okay.
All right, guys. Look, as usual, it's always great being on with you all, and I've been reaching out to a couple of players. We got a couple of players that are going to be on. ABA players going to be on soon, and like we said, we're going to be also trying to get this roundtable discussion thing going about The Last Dance. We reached out to Paul Mokeski, who was in episode 1 with the Milwaukee Bucks. They were responsible for sending Jordan M home before they got the ball rolling. And Rick's got a couple guys Brian's been talking to people like Andre Moore, Leonard Copeland, guys who's played with Sixers. So we should have a pretty good, interesting, eclectic group together soon. So really looking forward to this and everything that we're doing moving forward. Want to start getting some more coaches and ABA players on as well. Just so we get those other opinions out there. And, but as usual, love having you guys on, man. It was great. Thank you once again.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me, Brian. And CJ, I had a, wonderful time again.
Great, man. Great. Well, guys, until next week, I guess that's going to do it. And everyone have a good weekend. We'll get back here and do it again.
Sounds good.
Sounds good, CJ. Have a great weekend. You and Brian.
All right,
Stay
guys.
safe, guys.
Peace.
Peace.
Have you heard of Modere? They have some of the safest products on the planet, free from over 3,000 harmful ingredients. They send me product specials and birthday surprises, and every time I order, I could win a Modere Escape from the rewards program. The easy-to-use app means I can order anywhere, anytime. Give it a try. Download the app. Use my promo code 3I6W8K and get $10 shopping credit on your first order. Share with friends and they get $10 as well. Modere. Stylish, safer, smarter.
Modere is a proud sponsor of ABA 101. We have lots of athletes using their liquid biocells like former NFL player Willie Harper. Have a look for yourself. You can either go to www.modere.com or www.modere.com.au. Use our show promo code 3I6W8K. Get $10 off on your first order. It costs you nothing to look. The best way to keep up with everything happening around here at ABA 101 is to join our monthly newsletter. Just for joining, we give you $230 worth of free gifts from our sponsors once you confirm your email address. You can unsubscribe at any time, but why would you? Just go to our website, www.aba101.club, scroll to the bottom of the page, and subscribe. Well, that's going to do it for this week. Remember, you can keep up with every episode by subscribing via our website. Follow us on social media and tell your friends about us. Next week, new guests, more basketball tips, more basketball stories about the game we all love. Till then, be safe and keep your eyes on the ball.
Give him a bone. Give him a bone. Give him a bone.